Hello everybody, it is now the 3rd of January 2024 and I wanted to give you a quick update. This is something I've always done on this channel to let you know about the travel situation here in Japan since January 2020, before the pandemic really became a pandemic. I was on this channel helping you out, and there's a lot of people in particular here in Japan right now that are thinking of traveling to Kanazawa or had plans to go to Kanazawa, which is in the Hokuriku region, very close by. I was going to call the Kanazawa Tourism Association today to try to get the latest information, but the offices are closed until January 4th as a result of the New Year's holiday, Shogatsu, until tomorrow. I'm going to give them a call and ring them up and assess the situation for tourism going there. The Shinkansen lines were down on the 1st, January 1st, but resumed yesterday, so you could get in and out of Kanazawa just fine now. I had chatted with a viewer who was in Kanazawa at the time, said it was the scariest thing that they've ever gone through. Kanazawa was shook pretty badly. They couldn't get out. They wanted to leave because of all the aftershocks. Eventually was able to get to Kyoto where they are now. So should you go to Kanazawa right now, I would say hold off. If you have hotel plans, why not go? A lot of the things are closed. According to the website, the Kanazawa Tourism Association's website, the Kenroku Park, which is one of the 3 great gardens of Japan, is closed right now as they assess the situation, the integrity of some of the bridges and the structures that visitors go into to make sure everything is safe. That's still closed, according to the update, at least it was yesterday. The 21st Century Museum, which is one of the great modern art museums in Japan, that is closed as well, as a museum assesses its structural integrity. And there will be a lot of buildings and places that are closed as a result of the earthquake in Kanazawa City. Now, Kanazawa, as I said yesterday, the Shinkansen station is fairly new, so the infrastructure for tourism is more modern than a lot of other places. A lot of the hotels are newer, in particular in front of Kanazawa Station. So I'm going to say that they're probably going to be okay. There are tourists there when the earthquake hit. There are tourists there now. So if you have plans to go there, go ahead. But if you don't quite yet, I would say hold off, because there was a statement for approximately 100,000 residents to evacuate the areas that they're living on the Sea of Japan coast, in particular around the Noto Peninsula. Where are they going to evacuate to? Quite possibly Kanazawa. So it could be a situation where a lot of people are leaving their homes, their towns, and moving to Kanazawa for an extended period of time into gymnasiums and things like this. We saw this during the great Tohoku earthquake of 2011. I'll keep you up to date on this. Again, I won't have a chance to talk with Kanazawa Tourism until tomorrow, and they have all of that information. When I get somebody on the phone, I'm going to relay this information to you directly onto this channel. Yesterday, a lot of you, after I did the live stream, got a chance to see the accident that happened at Haneda Airport, where a JAL flight coming in from Hokkaido was landing and hit a small airplane that was set to go to the Hokuriku region. There were 5 Coast Guardsmen and women. I believe they were just men that were lost their lives in that accident. This is playing on the internet as well. This is from the security cameras. I'm going to discuss this a little bit, but as of right now, I believe Haneda Airport is still closed. You can see there's the, when they hit it, a massive explosion taking place on the tarmac there. This is the plane coming in to land from Hokkaido. Believe it or not, everybody on that plane that is on fire survived. They were able to evacuate on time. There were a lot of errors, human errors. They're saying that on Japanese TV was the cause of this accident. They're going to assess this, and before they place blame on anybody, they're going to get the airport running again. We're in the middle of a Shogatsu holiday where a lot of travelers are on the road, in particular Japanese travelers going back to their hometown. Airlines were at 99% capacity. So this is going to be something that they're going to want to get back running again right now. As of right now, I believe that Haneda is still closed. This morning I saw helicopter footage of the accident, the burned out airplane, where the police investigators are still documenting what had happened for later on. but I'm sure that they're going to be trying to get Haneda Airport back online as soon as possible. Maybe the flights, I'm not sure yet, we're going to get more information on it, are going to be redirected to other locations around Japan. It could be Ibaraki Airport, could be Narita, it could be other places that just don't have the same amount of... There's a reason why Tokyo has a lot of regional airports, Chofu, where they could take medium-sized flights. There's a helicopter that's swirling around, I'm not even sure why, but let's see here. There's a lot of runways as well. The other 3 runways are running as per normal, right? And thank you for the information. From the look of the helicopter footage, it looked like the majority of Haneda Airport was closed. So there's a limited amount of airlines going in there, and they'll probably get the other runways up and running as soon as possible. The main one that was impacted from the JAL flight from Hokkaido. Again, amazing that nobody was killed on that plane. I believe there's a number of people that were injured. We'll get more information on this tomorrow as the Shogatsu holiday, the official holiday, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, kind of simmers down and people get back to work tomorrow. It couldn't have happened at a worse time when everything is kind of shut down right now. There's still a lot of emergency assistance going into the Hokuriku region to try to get help to people who don't have power. It is luckily a warmer day than usual here in Japan. It's not the warmest, but it's not. If it were colder, it would be much worse not to have electricity or power. In particular, in some of the old houses on that side, the Sea of Japan side, colder than it is in Tokyo for sure. Again, the prayers go out to the people over there. A lot of New Year's prayers going towards the people of Hokuriku and the Noto Peninsula. The title of this video is about a warning that came across on the news just today, about an hour ago. I was kind of taken aback by this. Japan is warning about the spread of false information on social media. This is a no-brainer. We know that this is going to happen in every single tragedy. Scams are going to come along. I want you, before you donate to any sites right now, that is, people's hearts are in the right places, but sometimes you start to look at the people asking for donations before these sites are even set up. Right now, the Japan Red Cross and a lot of the local associations have, they're prepared for this kind of a tragedy. Just give it some time before you donate some money to them, before you even volunteer. I remember when we were, in particular my friend Mike and other people, before we went up to volunteer in Tohoku after the Great Tohoku earthquake, you just couldn't get on the roads. There were blockages. People needed help right away. But the people who wanted to go in and help, that had big hearts, got into their cars to try to run food up there, to run generators and things like this. You couldn't even get to the people, and you had to wait a while, longer than we'd wished that we had to wait in order to get to help people. But trust me, the volunteers and the help is going to be needed beyond just this period right now. The real challenges are going to be, months and maybe even years from now, when the volunteers are no longer there. So just keep that in mind. And in particular, if you're a resident of Japan, I remember the Kumamoto earthquake, the Niigata earthquake, the Tohoku earthquake. We needed volunteers to go in there to help out, and we're probably going to need that for this. And I'll keep you up to date on any opportunities for those living in Japan that want to go up there and volunteer and help the people out up there. But please be aware of the spread of false information, because it is propagating quite heavy right now. Yesterday's live stream, it was more about me being quite upset at the international media for the sensationalism, and I'm finding online things like this. Check it out. This is the most sensational media is coming out of India right now. Just look at this thumbnail, right? It looks like the entire country of Japan was wiped out. This is absolutely awful, and the media in India should be ashamed of themselves. And not everybody, but I'm seeing way too much of it coming from here. I mean, there's just no accountability whatsoever from this news organization in particular. So, it's out there, it's spreading, and it's despicable, and it's making people really afraid. Yesterday's live stream was a necessity because so many people, I think spitballing about 800 people had written to me and was worried about my safety. It's very touching. As I showed you in that episode yesterday, please go take a look at it. Yeah, absolutely. Right in Cotton Bucks right in here, clickbait, actual fake news. Here's the thing with this. probably the thumbnail gets you to click, but the information typically is somewhat on par of the things that you need to know. BBC, CNN, some of the other news networks in the United States, the cable news networks, it doesn't matter. It's not a political thing. Both sides of it do some sort of clickbaiting to get you to go in there. But the information is usually on par with some of the things that you need to know, the tsunami warnings, the area that's been impacted, things like this are in those reports. So it's not the information so much as the headlines, which are what everybody reads and everybody sees, and that scares them. The best news organization that I saw that had done a good job with it, I think it was the Nikkei. That told you the magnitude, and they told you the Sea of Japan area. It told you it's triggering tsunamis. It didn't say all of Japan. I thought that was pretty accurate, and that was it didn't worry anybody, but gave you an idea that this is a regional earthquake. Yesterday's live stream, if you didn't get a chance to see that, I showed you the actual size of Japan. It is quite large. You can see it takes up a lot of the east coast of it. It's comparable to California in size. California just a little bit bigger, but you know, when you look at the area that's impacted, right here, here's a map of it. This is the Noto Hanto, which is Wajima, where the epicenter was. It was a shallow earthquake, magnitude 7.6, Shindo 7, which is the worst on the Japan scale of intensity of shaking. You can see the impacted area is just a region. On Instagram stories, I kind of laid into it a little bit more, but you can see the Noto Peninsula right here. A lot of very strong earthquake. That red and the bright colors there is a very hard impact. And in Tokyo, it's not so much. Just a note for everybody watching, Tokyo receives 1,500 earthquakes a year on average. Maybe, you know, give or take a few hundred depending on the year and the activity, but there's typically several earthquakes a day happening. You don't feel most of them because they're so small. Depending on how high you live in a building, you'll be able to feel it. I was on the 6th floor of a building and I was able to feel the one in Kanazawa, but if you were walking around like you are right here, you probably wouldn't have felt that earthquake on New Year's Day. So I want you to just point that out. It's not something to be worried about. The earthquake did not impact all of Japan, all right? It impacted a regional area in Japan. So when you take a look at this thumbnail that was on CNN, I'm not even sure why Japan is all in red. It makes people worried about that. It's a regional earthquake, and it's a massive earthquake, but it's a regional one. So it wasn't something that people should have worried as much as they did about it. But again, I'm really thankful for everybody who reached out and was concerned about my well-being. And yesterday's live stream was a reaction to that, to let you know information and not to worry about us in Tokyo. And I know a lot of people bashing those news networks. I get it. It's not exactly accurate stuff. Some of the stuff that I've also seen in the news, to give you an idea of how powerful this earthquake was, the initial reports, and this comes from NHK World, which is an authority on news here. NHK, earthquake may have shifted land 1.3 meters. That is a significant amount. That is like about 4 or 5 feet. It shifted the land, all right? And this article is, again, if you want to read it, it is on NHK World right now. It's in English. The powerful earthquake rocked Ishikawa Prefecture on Monday, May, shifted land on the Noto region 1.3 meters. The Geological Information Authority, known as GSI, analyzed the data, and that's pretty massive, all right? So if the land has been moved that much, you can see that there's going to be some massive damage, and that hasn't even been assessed yet. So there are rescue workers still going in there, knocking on doors, making sure that you know, things could have toppled on people that are a little bit elderly. A lot of these towns up on the Noto Peninsula, the average age of the population is over 60, all right? Young people have moved out of there. There's no jobs. A lot of schools have become abandoned up there. It's a situation that's going on all over Japan, where they need a lot of revitalization. They need a lot more young people to go in there, but they just don't have it. And with that kind of a population, there's not a lot of people to help in case of an emergency like that. So there's a lot of worry about the residents up there. And again, the prayers that are going out at New Year's holidays right now in Japan are mostly about that. Yeah. I want to thank everybody for the questions here, and the comments that I got on yesterday's live streams were extraordinary. I appreciate everybody who was sharing the stories of where you were on when the earthquake hit. A lot of travelers here in Japan. Right now I'm in Toyosu. This is on Tokyo Bay. You can see the Rainbow Bridge in the distance over there, and this is a shopping mall called Lalaport. It's on the Yurakucho line. Operations back to normal on the 3rd for the shopping mall, so things in Japan are getting back to normal, which is good. And very important. As you saw yesterday with the accident, the Coast Guard was sending people to go over there to help out, and that's just a massive, massive tragedy that happened yesterday. It's not the start to the 2024 year that we wanted here in Japan, and I'm somebody who tries to take an optimistic look, and you know, when you have a loss of lives, it just simply hurts right now. So I really appreciate the you know, the prayers for the people here, and the vast amount of good-hearted people out there that want to do something to help. And you want to do something right now, and there's not a lot that you can do because the area is still very much a disaster zone. So just hold off on that and give it some time, and then I'll give you some things that you can do if you want to volunteer. There's an organization on Facebook called Foreign Volunteers Japan. Or was it Japan Foreign Volunteers? It's been a while that we used this Facebook group for volunteer activities for the Tohoku earthquake, and it was very valuable for us who were volunteering. And I'm going to be meeting up with my friend Mike, who was a super volunteer, and he's going to probably want to go up there if he can and get some resources from him. If not, I'll talk to him on the 5th. So tomorrow I'll be giving you more information about Kanazawa and the travel there. But again, we're not sure what the situation is yet, if they're going to have refugees or people from the neighboring towns come in to gymnasiums and stuff. So I would wait until tomorrow, until things open up and are assessed, before you make plans to go there. But I'm going to guess in a couple of weeks, maybe it's okay, but they're still assessing the situation. The Shinkansen tracks are back up, resumed full service as of Tuesday, which was yesterday. So not a problem. As you can guess, they used the day, and JR was very quick to assess the situation, the tracks, the integrity of it, so we wouldn't get into an accident, make sure the lines are still all straight, and people could travel in and out, which is so important as this time of year, right? I'll take some of your questions really quickly. If you covered this, I hear it's not easy for people to send financial aid from overseas. How should we help? Thank you for that personality of a brick wall. I would just hold off on your initial reaction to want to help. Japan is a country that is well equipped to deal with these kinds of tragedies. The scale and scope of the Tohoku earthquake in particular, as a result of you know, the Daiichi plant up there and the meltdown, that was on another level. And a shout out to our servicemen and women that were serving in Japan. I'm talking about the United States. For Operation Tomodachi, which doesn't get a lot of, which is sometimes somewhat forgotten as a major operation to help out Japan from the United States side. We're not quite there yet, but I'm sure that Japan is going to be helping out right now. The biggest issue is to get first responders in there, to get even right now, and knock on doors and make sure that everybody's okay, because there are a lot of elderly in the area. And you're just not sure in that kind of a situation with the power out. It's been a couple of days, so it's kind of scary. Yeah. So thanks for that. I'll give you as much updates as I can on this. This isn't what I wanted to be doing, but when tragedy strikes, it's dang, it's just really not a great time. You know, because we're seeing this on the news, we're talking about it. Our families are all together at this time of year in Japan, and every family's talking about it around the dinner table as we eat. We feel a sense of hurt because we know that there's a region of this country that's really hurting. Yeah. Hey John, is travel health insurance a useful thing? Yeah, I would say that. Look, you're starting to see this now. Japan is a country of earthquakes where you cannot predict it, and I'm not going to scare you into it. Somebody asked me, do you need a Japanese encephalitis shot? things like this. If you feel like you do need it, then go ahead and get it. Japan has volcanoes. They could erupt at any time, disrupting travel. You could be attacked by a bear hiking in the woods here. You could be, the bear attacks are on the rise. You could get ill and then have to be evacuated or something. Yeah, there's a lot of things that would require travel insurance, not just for Japan, but for anywhere. So it's one of the things that you definitely should assess. Depends on your age as well. Do you think that you would possibly get sick here? I backpacked the world from 1996 to 2004, and I'm talking like 80 countries or something like that. I circumnavigated 5 times on backpacking trips, spending like $5 a day on most places, stretching the money out, and I did not have health insurance, and I got sick. I had dengue fever twice. The second time was really bad. I was checked into a hospital in Singapore. Luckily, Singapore hospitals were not that expensive, and I was able to pay for it and fly back to Japan, where I was able to get treatment at a hospital for that. That was the dengue hemorrhaging fever where 5% of the people die or something. It was really bad. I was sick for a couple of months after that. And I will not be wearing shorts and a tank top at in Cambodia ever again. Wear long pants, beware of mosquitoes, everybody. Have you ever had a job? The amount of time that I work on YouTube, I would say that this is harder than a full-time job. So yeah, I have had a job. I've worked for Japanese corporations as well. So I've been in an office job in Japan. Shueisha, a multimedia company, is also a group that I worked at, where I got the full-on Japanese corporate structure type of deal. And I was at the headquarters of an English school where I had a desk next to the director of the company. So yeah, I know the hierarchy of Japanese corporations quite well. I don't know why you're asking me that question. It doesn't make a lot of sense. This is true. I'm trying to look at the questions here since the live stream, because I know this is an issue to you, but let's try to keep this on target here. Didn't you work for NHK for a while as a reporter? I don't know. That was more like part-time stuff. They call me when they needed a reporter. Freelance. It's one of the jobs right now. I have several hats that I wear, but let's not, this isn't supposed to be about me. Let's keep this about traveling in Japan right now, because I think that this is something that's on people's minds, not your curiosity about the creator who's right here. What is it like filming? Frank, can we keep on target, please? Michael, thank you. There have been loads of aftershocks, and one of the things that I discussed with the viewer who was in Kanazawa at the time was the aftershocks. The initial earthquake happened like right underneath Wajima City. It was a shallow one, so you're not going to get like a tsunami from there per se. I mean, the aftershocks are out in the sea, so the tsunamis that did come in were as a result, this is what I believe, were a result of the aftershocks, the tsunamis that came in, not the initial quake. So aftershocks can cause tsunamis. There were aftershocks after the Great Tohoku earthquake for months. No, years after. There was a big earthquake a couple of years ago. I put a picture of it on a video of my office shaking on Twitter. I believe it was over a year ago. That was considered an aftershock of an earthquake that happened 10 years ago. So depending on the intensity of the earthquake, you can have aftershocks going on for months, if not years. This was a big earthquake, so I'm going to guess we're going to have aftershocks for the rest of this year, if not, and most in particular for the next month. And there's a lot of them. If you look at JMA, this is the site that I put this in the last live stream. I would like you to get your information about this from the source of the government agency that does information on earthquakes, which is the GMA, the Japan Meteorological Association. They post things in English as well. They have an English site. I'm looking right now. See if I can find it here. Is that it? No. I have so many assets open right now. That would be the place to go to get your information. And they'll tell you the magnitude as well as the the seismic magnitude, which is the Japan. This is the magnitude. This gives you an idea of how big it was. This was 7.6, which is a major earthquake on the scale of magnitude 1 to 9 plus. The Great Tohoku earthquake was 9 plus, which is catastrophic. But you know, the earthquake a couple days ago was pretty large. And here's the Shindo scale of 1 to 7. This is the Japan one. We had Shindo 7 a couple days ago. So yeah, this is was a major earthquake. This is the Great Tohoku earthquake, which is about a decade ago. Just a note, programming, I'll be going to Minami Soma, which is a town that was greatly impacted by the Great Tohoku earthquake on the 8th, this Saturday? And I'll be doing a live stream from the museum, I believe, to give you a look at the last 10 years, the last 11, 12 years since that earthquake on 3/11/2011. And I'll be talking with students, young people in the area as well. I'll be there for 1 night, 2 days, and doing some live streams. So the timing is pretty good to talk about earthquake and earthquake safety. So we'll do that. Back to Soma no Maui has been moved to May for next year because it was so darn hot. Probably the most challenging filming I've done. I've been in some super cold locations, but this is the hottest. I'm kind of glad they moved it to May, to be honest with you. But I'll be back in Minami Soma more on the coastal regions and talking about the earthquake. Again, as somebody who lived in Fukushima Prefecture near Miyagi, this is and the other areas, this is certainly something that's very close to me. See here. What is the current situation in Noto? Have they rescued most of the people? I've touched on this. Thanks for asking again. For those that are joining us, we're still assessing that. The images that are coming out are not good. First responders are going door to door looking for people. There's a lot of elderly in the region. We just don't know. This came at maybe the worst time because a lot of the first responders were not primed to be out there for a national disaster. They were at home with their families. Which is typically what you do on the first of New Year's Day, but there were people out there. Yesterday was a really challenging day, and in particular because of the accident that we saw at Haneda Airport. That there were Coast Guard members going out to help out with that, and this shut down the airport. Now it's some of the runways are back online thanks to our viewers giving us information on that right now. Luckily, everybody on that plane is okay. Tomorrow is the first day back. I'm gonna give the Kanazawa Tourism Association a call. I'll have some information on when they think you should travel to Kanazawa. What are some of the things that you should be aware of? And you'll get the information from the source. I'll have a notebook out and just run down those notes for you quickly tomorrow, so you have that, so you know. I know Irvan, one of our viewers here, has changed his plans coming to Japan as a result of it. And I can completely understand that. But Kanazawa is such a beautiful place. I would hate if they could take tourists that people alter the plans and not go there, because maybe this is a time they could use it more than ever. They could use some positivity. So I live in Toyama and had to evacuate. Thank you for your concerns. We are still having aftershocks today, and most of the prefecture is without running water. Ma, thank you for that update. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. There are a lot of people that have had to evacuate. In Noto Peninsula, they're still getting a lot of senior citizens out to evacuation places. Again, there's no power, and we're seeing there's no... It's not just Ishikawa Prefecture, it's also Toyama Prefecture. It's the Hokuriku region. All right, there's 100,000 people initially, but you can see even the death toll is going up, and nobody in Japan is focusing on the death toll. I don't see that in the news at all. It's just the foreign media that's focused on the amount of people that lost their lives yet. That's not something that we even focus on in Japan so much. I haven't seen much news on that. All right, that's what the foreign media has been leading with that. So it's just something that I think is a little bit disappointing. But again, I'm not sure if I was a foreign media, how I would lead with this story. But I just thought that the Nikkei did it really well. So I have to give my hats off to the Nikkei Asia for the headline there, and maybe not so much for some of the other groups like this one here, which just looks like the entire country of Japan has been wiped out. So you can see the media coverage across the board has been awful. And I'm hoping that these live streams maybe brings us all back down to earth. You know, not a lot of people are going to be watching this comparable to the news, but if everybody can get this information and share it, you know, in your own social media posts, you're going to know what's right and wrong based on the sources, the Japan Meteorological Association, people that are in Toyama right now. Going to Instagram and just hashtagging Kanazawa, you're going to see some media footage of people that are have earthquake footage and see directly from them rather than a talking head telling you. All right, I'm just a YouTuber who has been in Japan for quite a long time, knows the geography, knows a lot about earthquake. I've interviewed seismologists, volcanists, as well as earthquake engineers, the three major groups dealing with earthquakes sciences in this country. There are three: the engineers, the seismologists, and the volcanists, which is really cool to say volcanist. I would like to have a business card that said volcanist. And he did. I've interviewed all of these people. I'm no expert on it, but have some knowledge and can understand and have lived through them and can understand quite a lot about how this is dealt with. I have an episode on this coming out as well, sometime in the next couple of months. A lot of editing involved with that one. At the moment, there are traffic jams of people evacuating. If you want to help or volunteer, please do so digitally and do not travel to our area. Thank you for your concern. Comes from Ma, who's in Toyama. Thank you for that. Exactly. I think this is the point. Everybody wants to help right away after a tragedy, and the heart is in the right place. Stay out of the area. Kanazawa is on the Shinkansen. A lot of people that were there and couldn't get out on New Year's Day are getting out. One viewer, again, left and has gone to Kyoto and is going to be there for a while. I'm not sure. A lot of the infrastructure in Kanazawa is fairly new. Maybe call your hotel, but the Tourism Association is closed until tomorrow. So let them assess the situation. Just hold off on another day as Japan gets back to work. That's all that I have for today. I want to keep this relatively short, 30 minutes, because I know this is on a lot of your minds, and it's on mine for sure. And I'll do my very best to answer some of the comments and questions that you have in this live stream at the end of it. Ramsey Silent is here. Get the message out, hit the like. Thanks for that. Don't forget to let us know what we can do. Absolutely, Aiken. You know, as somebody who's volunteered in Japan, they're going to need a lot of people to help with this one. And I know that the good people of Noto Peninsula are going to need it. And it's not just a financial thing. Japan is, you know, it's got a pretty robust economy. It's more about, you know, Japan is a country with a declining population and a over 60 heavy population. They need young people to come here to help. They need physical bodies, but just wait on that. Wait until we can get access in there. Wait until people can get power in there. Wait until this, and then they're probably going to need a lot of people to help rebuild. I'm not really sure, but we're going to have responders and municipalities ask for help, or organizations. There's some great organizations. There's a food bank. If you want to give right now, give, you know, I would say give to the Japan Red Cross and give to the food banks. Second Harvest is a great organization that, you know, I donated to during the Great Tohoku earthquake, and we did food runs for getting trucks and then moving food up there. Second Harvest Japan, if you want to donate, and I'm sure that they're right now trying to get food and water to that region. Check out their website before you donate, okay? That's just my heart right now, giving you a place if you want to give some financial assistance. That is a legitimate, a very good organization run by good people doing some good things, all right? But hold off on your donations, and just let people assess this. And that's all I have for you. I'll be back again tomorrow with another update. As Japan reopens, I'll have more information firsthand from people that are in the industry for tourism that are impacting you and your trips. Not just now, but we're talking about in the next couple of weeks and to months, if you know, this area is going to be open for tourism. Just don't know. And hope for some good things. All right, thanks for the prayers, everybody. Thanks everybody for the help. I'll see you again tomorrow. Mata ne.